Okay, guys, this is Algebra 2, Module 3, Lesson 32, Buying a House. And it's a mathematical modeling exercise, which means you're going to have to do a little bit of work on this one yourself. It says, now that you have studied the mathematics of structured savings plans, buying a car, and paying down a credit card debt, it's time for you to think about mathematics behind the purchase of a house. And problem set Lesson 31, you select the future career and a home to purchase. Now, we did not do that, but I gave it to you over here on the right, the careers. It says the question of the day is this: can you buy the house you have chosen on the salary of the career you have chosen? You need to adhere to the following constraints. Mortgages are loans that are usually offered in 30, 20, and 15-year repayment options, which means that's how long you have to pay those loans off. So you're going to start with a 30-year mortgage. So in 30 years, you're going to have your house paid off. And then it says the annual interest rate for the mortgage will be 5%. A mortgage, I hope you know, is just what you pay each month for your house. And it says your payments include the payment of the loan for the house and the payment into an account that's called an escrow account, okay, which is used to pay for taxes and insurance for your home. So whenever you think of escrow, just think of paying for taxes and insurance. We approximate the annual payment of escrow as 1.2% of the home selling price. The bank can only approve a mortgage if the total monthly payment for the house includes the payment to the escrow account does not exceed 30% of your monthly salary. So that's what the bank is looking at. Is it 30% or less of your monthly salary, your monthly payment for your house? As you've saved up enough money to put a 10% down payment on this house. Now, will the bank approve a 30-year mortgage on the house that you have chosen? So first of all, I've got to figure out can I pay for my house? Okay, monthly, which is going to be based off of your career. Your career, and it's going to be your the monthly payments, not your total salary. So we're going to take our total salary over here and divide it by 12 to find what our 30% is going to be. And then we're going to multiply that by 30. Okay. So just for my sake, I graduated with a special education teacher degree, which is down here. So that's what I'm going to do. I've never made $47,000, but I also didn't have my master's degree. Okay, so let's come over here. Now let's just figure out what is going to be my 30% of that payment. So if I do 47,650 divided by 12, that'll give me my monthly payments. That is equal to $397. Okay. Now I'm also going to multiply that by 0.30 because that will give me my 30% of my salary, my monthly salary. And that equals $1,191. Okay, now that's a good bit. But you also have to think about taxes coming out of that salary. So that's not actually going to be your how much you would actually have. So for example, I think I always calculated my monthly income to be taxed by basically 2/3. And so you would have to take that monthly payment and it would drop it down to about $2,600. Well, about 27. And then if I was to multiply that by 0.03, it goes all the way down to $806. So after taxes, that's about how much I could afford on a house. Now, don't worry about that. I'm just trying to put that in perspective, though, that in America, you get taxed for that much, in Alabama at least. Okay? So, page 2 now. We're going to take that money that we were just talking about, which was $1,191. $1,191. And this is the monthly repayment. So a repayment. I can afford. So I got to keep it under $1,191. Okay, because that's all I can afford according to this problem. Now, I want you to go and find you a house that you would like to buy in Korea or in America or somewhere and see if you can afford it. So, for my example, I found a house that was $144,900. Now, right now in America, where I live, this is not going to buy you anything hardly because it is outrageous right now, housing where I live. But we're going to stick with this one. So, remember in the problem, it said you would have to count as 1.2% for escrow, which is your taxes and your insurance. And we're going to put 10% down. We just call that the down payment. I think it's kind of like your all's key money. And what else would we need? Oh, annual interest rate of 5%. And you would have 30, 20, and 15 loan years. Okay? Now, let's just start doing this. So we could take $144,900 and let's say that's what it sold for. Well, then we would multiply that by 0.012 for our escrow. Now, when you do that, plug that in your calculator, you get 17.3880. Now, that is for a year. Okay, you have to do that a year. But we are not going to pay it all at once. We're going to divide that into each month, which will now be $144.90. Okay, make that better for there. So notice if you look at this, it looks a lot like 144,900. Well, that's because we multiply by 0.012 and then we divide it by 12. Okay, so we basically just move the decimal. Now, this is equal to our escrow. But we're also going to put 100% down. Or, I'm sorry, not 100%, but 10% down. Cool. Getting crazy about my zeros here. Okay. If we put 10% down, that's going to cut down our monthly payments, right? So what is 10% of that? Well, that is a move the decimal problem. And so we would have $14,490 as a down payment. Okay. So if that's our down payment, we're going to have to subtract that from our housing cost here. Okay. So now we're going to say 144,900 minus $14,490, and that turns out to be $130,000. Okay, so that's actually what you're going to have to get a loan for. Okay, because you're putting 10% down. So this is down payment. This is the cost of the house. Okay, and then we still have our escrow here we have to calculate. So now then, we've got to figure out what is going to be our, what did it want to do? Will the bank approve a 40-year mortgage on the house? Okay, so now we're going to have to figure out how much it was going to cost us in 30 years, and then have to figure out the reoccurring payments on that, and how much our if it will come in under our cost, or not our cost, but under our monthly payment that we set up for each month, which had to be less than $1,191. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use the formula that we redid. We had AP formula that we have is AP is equal to R times 1 plus I minus N all over 1 plus I. But then when we worked all that out, we actually got it down to recurring payment is equal to AP I over 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative 360, well, to the negative N, right? Okay, so that's what we're going to use. Now, remember, R, reoccurring payment, AP is the annuity principal right now, or the actual payment principal right now, present. And we have our interest, we got our N. Okay, so let's do that. Oops, I'll erase this. And we'll work this problem out over here. We're looking for recurring payments, but our API is $130,400. Okay, and our interest rate is 0.05. So we would say 0.05 over 12, because that's going to be monthly, all divided by 1 minus 1 plus 0.05 over 12. And now we got to do that for 30 years. So 12 times 30 would be 12 times 30 would be a negative 360. Okay. Now, you plug that in a calculator and you get $543.11. Now, that is just for the repayment of the house loan. But we also have to take into account our escrow, which is, find it over here, $144.90. And so for a total of $688.01. So yes, we could afford these payments. Now, that is exactly what I want to do. Okay, because remember I told you that after taxes and stuff, that'd be like $800. So yeah, we come in plenty below our monthly payment. So a 30-year definitely works. Now you want to go on and figure out like what what you would do for a second year or for a 20-year loan. And that's where we get number 2 here. If the bank approves a 30-year loan, see if you meet the criteria for a 20-year loan. Okay, so if we do a 20-year loan, the only thing that's going to change is that end number, right? So we're going to have 130,440 times 0.05. But now here's the thing. Normally, when you go from a 30-year to a 20-year, the interest rates change. But we're not going to deal with that right now. Okay. That is not plus, that is minus. And we're just going to say 12 times 20, 12 times 12 times 20 is 240. That is negative. Okay. Okay, so now this would equal $860.85. So yeah, we're still coming in under the 20-year mortgage there. Okay. Now, if you could get a mortgage of any number of years that you want, what's the shortest term? Okay, so you would just keep working that down, keep changing this. Okay. Or what you would do is set this equal to whatever your monthly payment is that you can afford and solve for that. Okay, that's all we're going to do on this though, because your homework questions are not anything crazy. So just that should be enough to get you through your homework.